afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Propagandacast. Lehr with me, your host, Imperial Dane. Today's topic is going to be looking at the German Infantry Doctrine Commander. Yes, indeed. Figure I'd do a bit of a quick switch there, sort of rate them. I'll certainly like to talk about German infantry, how to use it the most, because it's a doctrine I personally use a lot, and I really like using it. So, that's Basil in the background. German Infantry Doctrine, by the way, is a free commander at the moment. Obviously, it's basically one of the starting ones, so like, you know, you can just grab it right away. By the way, also another reason just to quickly, I feel like, do a video explaining how to get the most out of it. It is free, so like, you know, it's good, it's free. Like, already there, it's, you know, I think just a standing recommendation there. But anyways, you got 5 abilities there like any others. You got the 250 half-tracking build, you got Stormtroopers, you got the veteran school leaders, you got Assault and Hold, you got Fragmentation Bomb. Overall, it's, shall we say, more aggressive doctrine. It's also one doctrine I feel like sort of helps deal a lot with the Wehrmacht, shall we say, issues, which is it's a faction that's forced to play the early game aggressively, but doesn't really have a lot of, shall we say, the existing tools to do so efficiently. German infantry really helps compensate for that, plus a lot of the elements also work to make the Wehrmacht stronger in the late game, because really what also struggles late game is basically the Wehrmacht's infantry isn't good enough to carry the fight there, when a lot of the time it really has to. So German infantry in many ways I feel like sort of helps a lot with the Wehrmacht's issue. Sure, it may not have a big juicy tank at the end, but honestly that's not really what the Wehrmacht needs. So it could of course benefit a lot from it. Really a lot of the time it's the infantry it comes down to. So you got the 250 half-track. Good in the early game to sort of quickly gain you some more tempo and momentum. Can quickly allow you to transport troops around, of course hit exposed units, overwhelm them, get some wipes, and just keep your opponent frustrated. Plus the defensive ability it has can also allow you to quickly just force your opponent to waste munitions, since it can actually take a lot of anti-tank grenades or whatever from infantry that tries to snare it, and that way just also sort of, like we say, turn the tables on them, force them to waste resources, and then sort of push them back. So a well-handled 250 half-track can be quite a disruptive problem for your opponent in the early game if you know how to handle it. So already there, that's good. You got the Stormtroopers, good elite infantry, so put pressure on them with MP40s. They can be used as assault, and combined with the 250 half-track, they become really good, since again, that way you can just quickly overwhelm support weapons, clear them out and steal them, turn them against your opponent. Plus, of course, infiltrating them, ping, you know, where your opponent doesn't want them is great. Can be used to support attacks with the smoke grenades, or just, you know, flanking out and clear out positions. Incendiary grenades can be used to flash out the enemy. They're overall just very good, a good component of the doctrine, and allows you to just play more aggressively. Plus, in a pinch, you can just call them in to just give you more infantry. So they, again, it gives you more flexibility. You got the veteran squad leaders, which is really huge in his own, honestly. I mean, again, sure, you just get 5-man on the Grenadiers and the Pioneers, but like even then, there's just more to it. Pioneers, again, a 5-man. They repair faster. Of course, they're harder to kill, but they also just repair stuff faster. So when combined with minesweepers, they can actually repair tanks pretty fast. So all there, that's good. And of course, keep thinking about veteran grenadiers with the squad leaders. It's not just a 5th man and a G43. It's a 10% increase in DPS, and you know, I think roughly. And of course, they become harder to kill as well with the slightly less received accuracy. And it actually means with the bonus they totally get. It's probably like in terms of like DPS bonus, probably one of the ones where the Grenadiers actually get the most firepower overall. It may not be quite as burst as the G43 upgrade or the LMG42, but overall they will just deal more damage on average than any other upgrade. And usually when I play with them, like when I then check the stats, veteran squad leader Grenadiers are pretty much always the one dealing the most damage, flat out. Combined again with fireman, meaning they're harder to wipe, and it just really helps you a lot early game, mid game, late game. It's good. And of course, not to forget the Panzer Grenadier upgrade. It doesn't see a lot of usage because, again, it requires more active use. It's not just, you know, walking around. Also, Grenadiers, by the way, get free medkits. Also handy. Really, don't ignore that one. But really, with the Panzer Grenadiers, you get the marked target ability, which is also really good for just allowing you to get extra damage in on infantry, maybe increase your chance of getting wipes out. So that's also pretty handy. Plus, in a pinch, you can use your Panzer Grenadiers to repair stuff as well. And they get smokes. I mean, again, very handy stuff there. The veteran squad leaders is definitely, I think, one of the key elements that really makes German infantry doctrine work. So, I mean, already just really good. And then you have Assault and Hold. Really overlooked element of German infantry. Just allows you, again, just launch really big infantry assaults, which again just allows you to push harder. And combined with Panzer Grenadiers, veteran squad leaders, and Stormtroopers, you can also quickly clear out a lot of those nasty things like either some really annoying infantry squads or the support weapons. And really, a lot of the times when the Wehrmacht assault fails, it's because it fails to deal with the support weapons like anti-tank guns. And Assault and Hold combined with that can really quickly allow you to clear out a lot of those nasty elements, allowing your tanks to succeed much more easily. So Assault and Hold is actually a really big part of it, similar to veteran squad leaders, but it's just a part most players never use. They use the doctrine. Plus, the ability to grab territory faster is also pretty good, but really, it's just a really good ability. If you use the doctrine, learn yourself in using it. Sure, you may fail a few times initially, but as you get the better hang of it, it can really just give you some extra hard pushes. And honestly, again, it's a huge part of the doctrine. It really just gives you so much, push in the late game, and it's really one of the big late game abilities of the Wehrmacht. And honestly, I wish they had more abilities like this for the Wehrmacht in general. I feel like that would probably be one of the things that really helps the Wehrmacht actually be good in the late game, to be honest. But really, it's good. Panther Grenadier Stormtroopers in particular benefit, but again, Veteran Squad Leader Grenadiers also benefit. And then finally, you got a Fragmentation Bomb. Not as big, but it can be used in quickly clearing out hard points. Thing to keep in mind about this one, of course, is to where you call it in from. Always note where the arrow is pointing, because you want it to arrive from the edge where it's closest to, so that we can just quickly hit your opponent before they have time to react. Usually the best place to call in is either during a big assault where there's already too much being managed, so they have to either they have to get out of the way of units, or they lose something to the Fragmentation Bomb, or hit something that's isolated on the edges and just wipe that. But overall, German Infantry Doctrine is a very, very solid commander. Then again, I feel it really just helps the Wehrmacht a ton, because it helps overcome and compensate for a lot of the Wehrmacht's, well, basically design faults that Relic have yet to sort of really rectify at the moment. And that way allows the Wehrmacht to sort of function better as a faction early, mid, and late game by again giving it some good units and some good abilities that really helps compensate for a lot of its issues. So I can strongly recommend this commander for any German player. In particular, like me, you like to use infantry and you like to play at least a bit aggressively. This is really good. But honestly, again, it's just a solid commander. And again, it's free, so you can just pop it right in if you want to. So that has been this Propagandacast Lehr on the German Infantry Doctrine. Hopefully this has been of use to you. Hopefully it's given some ideas how to make the best out of it. And hopefully it will improve your gameplay with it. This is Imperial Dean signing off, and see you all another time. Cheers.